What's up? What's going on? Hi, to read. It's Friday. Got a book review for you today. Louis Lamour, Dark Canyon. I gotta clean that up. There's the guy himself, Louis Lamour. And this one has all the stereotypical Western elements that maybe either you are trying to avoid or are looking for. It's got all those in this tiny little book. So, yeah, let's get right into it. Uh, One of my favorite things that Louis L'Amour does is he has some wild names for his characters. Like the main character in this one, who's a tough guy, he's a gunslinger. Uh, you know, he doesn't mind killing people. Gaylord Riley, and that's the main character. He's the tough guy in here. He's a unstoppable force. Gaylord Riley. The His friends end up calling him Lord because that sounds better. I guess they don't want to run around calling this guy Gaylord the whole time because I, I don't know. It's a hard sell. But it works. Gaylord Riley seems like a tough guy. I wouldn't mess with him. Uh, and yeah, let's tell his story. That's told right here in Dark Canyon. He's starts off as a young man in the book, maybe, I don't know, like 12 years old, 13, 14, around that, and basically an orphan. He ends up getting picked up more or less by this bandit group, and they're not like criminal bandits. They're more just like rustlers of, you know, this is like the situation that's going on. Then this is how these guys make money. They used to be cowhands, and then because of the way that the range is at this time, a lot of guys switch to like ranging up these cattle and yeah, driving them to different places and selling them, and just taking on odd jobs and stuff like that. Just kind of like roaming, but they're certainly outlaws. Uh, they they have hideouts, and yeah, they're always on the run. But eventually, they realize that this kid that they picked up he's a good guy, and they don't want him around anymore, basically. So they tell him, "Oh, just go off. We'll give you. We're all cutting in. We'll give you part of our money, and you're gonna go buy some land and start a ranch, and eventually we're gonna come there and retire." So he agrees to this plan. He goes into town. He starts setting up, becoming an upstanding citizen. Um, but regardless of his outlaw past, some people don't like that he's around, and because it's a western, there's a lot of men looking for women, but not that many women. And so all the characters in the story are kind of obsessed with one woman, and she's obsessed with Gaylord Riley, and none of them really take too kindly to this. On top of that, Gaylord Riley, he wants to breed a specific kind of cattle, which one of the other ranches has um, like a seeming monopoly over. So it just causes like all this drama. And then there's another ranch that the owner is going to kind of set everybody up to take each other out. Like, he doesn't really care who. He's probably the worst guy in the book, but he doesn't really do anything too bad until towards the end. He tries to set everybody up to basically kill each other and shoot at each other, and he's gonna come and clean up, and yeah, and clean up everything once everybody's dead. And in true Western paperback fashion, he gets his in the worst way out of all the characters. Like, even there's like just like really bad guys, but this guy gets it by far the worst. And I was reading, I'm like, why is he doing it? Like, why is this guy getting killed like this? And I think there's something, maybe some sort of like personal background going on, especially with the way that this story ends, is pretty cool. So I think there's some sort of Louis L'Amour dramas going on in this book. You'll see it at the end. It's pretty crazy. And he even talks at the end. There's a scene where the descendants of all these principal characters, all the cowboys and rustlers in this book, they go down and they visit the area, and they have a tour guide that's kind of like trying to, be the expert of the situation, and they're like kind of laughing about it because it's their family and they know everything. But this was a really cool one. If you like Louis L'Amour and you like westerns, this one is awesome. If you don't like westerns and you think they're corny, maybe read this one, because it has all that stuff that you think is stupid, but it's a lot of fun. A bit of the drawback to this one is that there's so much going on with the plot lines. Like I said, it's like intentionally unclear. It could be a little bit frustrating because you feel like you're lost. At the end, everything gets tied up, but I feel like Louis L'Amour is a little bit guilty sometimes of introducing so many characters that play like big roles in the story, but because the books are so short, sometimes it's hard to like keep all these characters in order, basically. Other than that, and that's not even a real complaint. I mean, that's just what you're dealing with when you have like such little space, to tell these like big ideas, these big characters, the big settings. And that's westerns for you. Louis L'Amour, Dark Canyon. I think I'm going to switch it up, and it's not really switching it up. I'm just going to read the short stories now. Frontier Stories. I'm going to start with this one, Volume 1. I read, Monument Rock. If you want to see a review for that one, maybe I'll link Little Big Library. James did a review for this. I'm not going to review it because, like I said, I'm going to do the short stories, and a lot of the short stories are collected in here. But Monument Rock, the novella that's in here, that's the title of it, is an awesome story. I think definitely it's worth the binding, I'll say. It's worth. The other stories in here are good, but it was worth printing it in its own little standalone. Like, that's a really good short story. I think it's maybe just 100 pages, but yeah, gonna keep reading more Louis L'Amour. I'm going through them all. I'm like trying to figure out which ones do I need? Which ones have I read? Which ones do I have that I need to read? Yeah, you can see. These are all the titles. This is all the short stories. We could just assume that I have all these. But otherwise, these are all the novels, Sackett series, nonfiction. And you see I have a lot to collect still. So, and way more to read than I realized. It's going to be a lot of work. So I'm going to get started on the short stories. I think that'll help a bit. I would love to do a Sackett series with somebody. If somebody wants to read Sackett series, if a bunch of people want to read Sackett series, that would be awesome, because I want to read those for sure, and I kind of want to read them, not back to back, but at a clip, at a nice pace. So if you're interested in that, let me know. My email is in the description, or you could comment. We'll figure it out. And yeah, until next time, find somewhere to hide, find something to read. Peace.